Hello you young sproutlings. Today we're talking about the ElderTree and the pros and cons it has and whether or not you should or should not buy it. With that said, let's hop into the pros and cons of this kit and find out if it's worth your Bobucks. I wasted mine, but you don't gotta waste yours. Okay, a few things to know about the ElderTree. It looks like this. The tree orbs you need to collect to increase your health pool look like this. Now, let's talk about these things spawn. These things can spawn anywhere on the map. They can spawn on top of trees. They can spawn on top of player builds, yours, enemies. It doesn't seem to have a specific area where they spawn and where they don't spawn. They'll spawn in your base, on enemies' bases, in the middle, on the diamond platforms. They'll just spawn basically anywhere across the map. So make sure you have a very watchful eye and you're keeping an eye out where these spawn. That way you can maximize your max health in this kit. Now that we got a good understanding of the kit, let's hop into the pros first here. And there's going to be 7 pros and 7 cons this video. Normally I do 5 and 5, but I feel like this kit's got a lot to talk about. So let's get these through and let's talk about them all. Starting off with the pros, number 1, we got tons of health. This kit can get tons of health. The biggest I've gotten up to is about 600 health. Now, every time you grab an orb, you're going to increase in size slightly. The camera doesn't seem to zoom out very well for this. So yeah, once you hit about like 600 health total, your entire outfit's just going to disappear. You're not going to see yourself. People still see you, but you don't see yourself, so that's a little weird. But yeah, tons of health. That's the first pro to this kit. Second pro is going to be little knockback. I noticed when you start to increase in size, your knockback is not as great. You can walk down a 1 block bridge, or maybe even a 2 block bridge, and not get sniped off with a regular bow, or even a crossbow. They're not going to knock you very far back, which means also swords aren't going to knock you very far back. I don't know so much about TNT. I haven't done too much TNT as this kit yet. I'm sure it reduces that knockback as well. So the bigger you get, the harder you are to knock off things, which is great. That's super awesome because the bow spam is real. Plus, there's aimbot out there, so yeah, you gotta watch for that. 3. The third pro here is going to be no need to buy armor. Armor's typically expensive. Looking at 60 iron for leather armor and 120 for iron, 8 for diamond. This gets expensive and it becomes very hard to get your armor up, even though armor is very strong. You don't need armor in this kit because you're not allowed to buy it to begin with, and then second off, it has tons of health, so that's kind of the counterpart. You get tons of health, no armor, so you're gonna get hit really hard, but you're gonna have tons of health, so that's how it kind of works. It's a little weird. Next up, our fourth pro is going to be Big Chungas / fun. It is super fun to just be this massive, huge, tree elemental thing running around amongst these puny humans. It's super fun to play. I can't tell you how fun it is when you're at 500-600 health and you're just a monster over the top of the normal sized players, so that's super fun. The fifth pro is going to be possibly increased range on sword. Now, I'm 99% sure you have an increased range. I've had a lot of people complain when I'm sword fighting them in this kit about what is that range and stuff. I think as you get bigger, the sword can hit a little further away. Now, I also think this works against you because I think your hitbox is bigger as well. But your range is definitely going to be good, and since with little knockback, going to be super good. Our sixth pro, and that's can't fall through gaps when bigger. So when you're really big like this and you walk over I don't know, 1 block that's missing over a sky bridge. So say you got 2 that are diagonal and there's a hole in the middle of the 2. You can walk over that. In fact, when you're big enough, you can walk over a 2 or 3 block gap and not fall through it. It's pretty interesting. Just make sure not to risk walking over things when you have no bed, though. I would not recommend that. But yeah, you can't fall through a lot of gaps with this kit, so it's super nice. And then the last one for the pros is going to be a strong offense. This kit has a very strong offense with a sword. With a massive health pool and just only having to buy a sword and not waste anything in armor, you're going to be able to pick up offense and fight really strong. You're going to see that in this video too, where I 4v1 an entire group in diamond armor, and some even had diamond swords. So super strong offense with this guy. Yeah, so with that said, that's the end of our pros. Now we're going to move over into our cons and talk about the negatives of this so-called kit. And those are going to be no armor. So no armor is going to hurt you here. You're going to take massive amounts of damage. So if you're small and you're struggling to get tree orbs, I want to call them spirit orbs, but tree orbs, you're struggling to get those, your health pool is going to be small. You're not going to have a good defense. The armor upgrade is not going to affect you really either because you don't have armor. Yeah, and swords are going to hit you really hard. So really watch out for those diamond or emerald swords. They are going to slap hard. Even a crossbow is going to hit you very, very hard. So keep in mind you don't have armor. You're going to take massive damage. Even with a 500 health pool, you need to watch that because you're going to take high amounts of damage. Second con is going to be hard to build when big. So when you get huge, it's really hard to build. You really can't see past your character too well. And this is gonna affect you a lot because if you can't build, it's really hard to get people who are into sky-based sniping you or people who are just on some sort of build sniping. It's going to be real hard to build to get up there. It can be quite a pain. The third one is going to mix in with number 2 here for our cons, and that's hard to see when you're big. As you get bigger, I feel like it's harder to see the camera of your character and where you're at and how and what you want to do or what blocks are in front of you. It starts to block a lot of that out. So the size of this kit is going to mess you up unless you play in first person, which I 100% can't recommend because first person makes you kind of blind to what's going on around you. Alright, so next up into our fourth con, we got can't fit in small areas. You're going to see this in this video gameplay as well at some point. You can't fit through doorways. So once you get bigger, you won't be able to fit through 2 block gaps. You won't be able to fit through even 3 block gaps. You might even have to go up to like 4 blocks tall to walk through it. Then it also goes by your width, so how wide you are. Sometimes you're going to have to break 2 blocks wide to enter things. You're not going to be able to enter through 1 block wide tunnels. This affects like bridges your teams build. You might have to walk on top of them, or if your enemies are bunkering down, it's going to be really hard to get you inside because they're going to constantly be replacing the blocks, and you need a really big hole to get in. So that's going to be on our cons as well. The next con we got here is our 5th con, and that is you're an easy target for bow spammers. So bow spammers, yes, even though they can't knock you back very much with this kit on, it's like almost having a perma shield on when you get big enough. You are an easy target for them. They can just snipe you over and over and over and over like no problem. So imagine sniping normal people, how easy that is. Now imagine someone 2 to 3 times bigger. You can imagine that makes you a pretty easy target for sniping. I don't think I have to say much more about that. You're just a big target. You're pretty easy to hit. Next up, let's go to the 6th con. Our 6th con is going to be tree orb spawns. Now, I say this is a con because these things spawn anywhere and everywhere. They can spawn on top of your base. They can spawn right on top of your bed, perhaps. You know, maybe they'll spawn on your base. You get them real easy. Maybe they'll only really want to spawn in mid one game. Maybe they'll want to only spawn at the diamonds things. They can spawn on enemy builds. They can spawn on your builds. They kind of just end up getting everywhere is the best way to put it. So yeah, and that's going to work us right into our 7th con, and that is required to wonder. You cannot play this kit and defend the bed. I'm sorry, but that's just not going to work very well. You can try and place a bunch of blocks around your base to make it bigger where more will perhaps spawn there, but it's not really as good as if you just wander around the map. This kit is really good for wandering because the spirit orbs spawn everywhere. So if you're constantly just being able to wander and grab the orbs while also mixing in some offense or mixing in grabbing emeralds for your team or perhaps even diamonds for your team, that's what this kit's going to work best at. It's going to work at wandering around the map, getting emeralds, getting diamonds, playing offense for beds. It's a very offensive kit. I can't recommend it for sitting a base too much because you're just not going to get your health pool up, and then you can't get armor to contradict that, so you're going to end up very weak if you don't go out and wander and get stuff. With that said, though, we're going to move into the conclusion on what my opinion, my definitive answer, yes or no, whether you should buy this or not. Alright, we're at that part of the video where we discuss whether you should or should not buy this kit in my 100% opinion. If you're an offense player or defensive player, this is going to depend. As much as I would love to just woo and twirl my shirt above my head, you know, party and be like, yeah, buy this kit, it's super great because I love it, it might not fit for you. The playstyle you're going to want for this kit is someone who likes to probably play offense, someone who likes to wander around all the time and fight people or go for beds, go for emeralds, go for diamonds. This is that kit, like, because you're going to constantly be all over the map. Be ready to be all over the map if you want to play this kit. My defender players, I'm sorry, I just don't think this is a kit for you guys. If you're just sitting at the bed almost all game, you're probably not going to get armor. You can't get armor, sorry. But you're not going to get a high health pool, which means you're pretty much going to be very squishy and be very weak late game. So this is not your stay at the base kit. That's Cletus. Go buy Cletus if you want to sit at the base. On that note, though, I will say yes, if you're an offensive player who wants to wander around the map the whole time, this is a kit for you. It is super fun, super strong, too, in my opinion. It's not like Davey, who's just fun. This kit is fun and strong. So super good buy here, in my opinion, if you're an offensive player. Defensive players, I would go ahead and pass on this one. I don't think it's for you, unless you think you're going to step out of the defensive area and come out and join us in the offense. With that said, though, hopefully this helped you guys decide whether you wanted to buy this kit or not. On that note, I will see you all in the next video. Peace out.